guys, Jason Bodine coming to you once again from Gadsden, Alabama. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be making chicken tikka masala. This recipe is a British recipe submitted to me by my good friend and UK native, Den Ramsden. So Den, thank you for that. And this recipe is divided into two parts, which we will be doing both parts in the same video. The first half of it is the marinade, and the second half is the actual cooking instructions. And each half has its own ingredients, which is why we're dividing it up. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's as much a treat for you as it is for me. So grab your aprons and let's get started. Okay. To make the marinade for chicken tikka masala, mix all of the following into a bowl and place it into the refrigerator covered to marinate overnight. You're going to need 28 ounces of boneless and skinless chicken thighs cut into bite-sized pieces, 1 cup of plain yogurt, 1½ tablespoons of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of ginger, 2 teaspoons of garam masala. Now, this is an Indian blend of spices that you may or may not have access to in your local grocery store, depending on where you are. And if you don't, you'll either need to go to an international food market or order it online. But anyway, continuing. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri chili, or half a teaspoon of ground chili powder. I used the latter for my recipe. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Mix all of those things together into a bowl and place them into the refrigerator marinate overnight. As you can see, I have already done this to save time, so I'm going to let this finish marinating, and then we will get on with part 2 of this video, or the second half of this video, making the sauce and finishing cooking the chicken. Here are the ingredients for the sauce for chicken tikka masala. 2 tablespoons of vegetable or canola oil, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 small onions or 1 large onion finely diced, 1½ tablespoons of garlic finely grated or crushed. For those of you curious, I looked it up on Google, and that translates to approximately 5 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of ginger, 1½ teaspoons of garam masala, 1½ teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, 1 can, approximately 14 to 15 ounces, of tomato sauce. Optionally, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri chili. And you also need 1 teaspoon of ground chili powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 1/4 cups of heavy or thickened cream, or you can use evaporated milk, which is what I will be using. 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, and 1/4 cup of water if needed. Now, optionally, you can also use 4 tablespoons of fresh cilantro or coriander to garnish. Since I am the only person in my house that likes cilantro or coriander, we won't be doing that. But anyway, if you want to do it, there it is for you. Okay, guys, let's get cooking. Okay, now, the first step after you've got all your ingredients for the sauce prep is to go ahead and get your chicken out of the refrigerator and sear it on medium-high heat just for a short time on each side. It will continue to cook in the sauce. Now, the instructions in the recipe say 3 minutes on each side. However, that may be a little bit much, as we discovered, for your stove. So I did it for 1 minute on each side, and it is slightly blackened on each side like it's supposed to be. So the next step, according to our instructions, is to melt the butter in the same pan. I have turned the heat down to medium instead of medium high. Melt the butter in the same pan. Fry the onions, and then add the garlic and ginger. Saute for 1 minute. Okay. See what? While the butter is melting, we'll go ahead and take a pause. Okay, now we are going to put our onions into the butter now that it's melted and saute them for, it says approximately 3 minutes. I don't think it's going to take that long. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't. Get our spatula back out here. That is smelling good, y'all. Let me tell you. Okay, I think I can go ahead and add. It says to add the garlic and the ginger. Let me get a spoon to scoop this out with. The garlic. Okay. Go ahead and add our garlic. And our ginger. It says let it simmer until fragrant. That's going to be about, it says 20 seconds. Once again, I do not believe it will take that long. Smell that.
That does smell good.
Okay. Now, next step, pour in the tomato sauce, chili powder, and salt. Let simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. So we're going to do that and take another pause. Okay, so here's our tomato sauce. Our teaspoon of chili powder. once again, y'all, this is the very first time I'm making this. So, and chili powder and the teaspoon of salt. I'll go ahead and get her to make sure everything is alright. That looks like everything's blended in good. So it says to let simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally until sauce thickens and becomes a deep brown red color. Alright, so we're going to do that and we'll be right back. Okay, we accidentally skipped over a part, so we're going to go back and put in, we said, our turmeric, our garam masala, coriander, and what else was it? Our cumin. Okay, so we had 2 teaspoons of garam masala. One. Ah! Most of that landed on the stove, y'all, so I'm going to get a little bit more. There's 2. Okay. Let's see. Garam masala. Cumin, turmeric, and coriander. So we had teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of turmeric, and a teaspoon of coriander. Or 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. Okay. Close enough for 1. It's about halfway full. Turmeric and coriander. Okay, so turmeric. Coriander. Alright guys, now we're going to stir this in. We were supposed to do this on the step when we were adding the garlic, and we completely skipped over it. I was wondering why it didn't smell as fragrant as it should. But we have now added it in, and we have a few more minutes to go to let this sauce cook and thicken up. So we will be right back.
She looks so excited to get her share,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not.
Yeah. Now that we're caught up on everything now, the next step is to add our teaspoon of brown sugar and our can of evaporated milk. Stir it up really, really well. is smelling very good, y'all. And it says to add the chicken back in, and and then cook for an additional 8 to 10 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are adding our chicken. Well, it said 8 excuses, so we'll just go ahead and slide everything in there. I'm going to turn this back up to get it starting bubbling again. Alright guys, we will be back when this dish is done. This is the last step. We'll be back when this dish is done, and let you see what it looks like. Okay, the chicken is done. I hope I did it right. This, like I said, this is the very first time I've made this. So, Dan, if you watch this video, tell me, and does this look right? Now, we are going to be having some brown basmati rice with it. It says to serve it with rice, so that's what we're going to be doing. And I just want to thank y'all for sticking with us. We know that we got a little disorganized and mixed up some steps going here and there, but everything got done. It all looks delicious. Okay guys, now I don't usually do an outro for my Cooking with Jason videos, but since this is the first time I've made this one, I felt it needed a little extra commentary, especially since there tends to be some confusion about the origin of this recipe, and B, there are some cooking time issues with it, with the recipe I use, which I will put a link to in the description. First of all, this is, from what Den told me, a British dish, although a lot of people think it comes from India because of the spices. It was inspired by Indian cuisine, from what I understand, but it was invented in the UK for the British palate. Now, as far as the cooking time issues, and this is very important because of cooking safety reasons mostly, and this is why I included that warning at the beginning of this video. The recipe that I used, which comes from some place called cafedelights.com, was not very exact in the, well, cooking temperatures, really, more than cooking time. I noted at the beginning of the video that when I was doing the blackening stage of the cooking, that, you know, doing it for 3 minutes, as the thing suggested, was a little much. In fact, it filled my house with smoke, so I had to do it for 1 minute. But even more important is that the recipe does not specify the temperature that you need to do the final cooking at. So when it said cook an additional 8 to 10 minutes, when I cut into it after 10 minutes, it was still raw in the middle. So that 8 to 10 minutes turned into closer to 30 minutes. Just simply because it did not tell me what temperature I needed to be cooking at, so I had to guess. Everything did turn out, and the recipe was delicious, so thank you again, Dan, for suggesting it. But anyway, guys, that's about it for this video. I hope you had as much fun watching it as my brother Nate, my dog Zelda, and I all had making it. So, that's about it, guys. Until next time, peace.